Hey, it's Coach Hirsch. By now you've learned about the law of demand and the law of supply, and now it's time to take that demand curve and that supply curve and put them together to create a market. Supply and demand are put together to determine equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. So here you'll notice we have a demand schedule and we have a supply schedule, which you've seen before. We draw these out on both axes, the price axis and the quantity axis. And when we add in our curve, we can see that the demand curve matches up. At $5, we have a quantity demanded of 10, and at $1, we have a quantity demanded of 80. And we add in our supply curve, we can see at $5, we have a quantity supplied at 50, and at $1, we have a quantity supplied of 10. So how do we figure out our equilibrium? Well, we look at where the intersection is between the supply and the demand curve, and we can see that it's at $3, and it's at the quantity of 30. We look over on our demand schedule and supply schedule, and we can see that that's accurate. At $3, we have a quantity demanded of 30, and at supply schedule, we have at $3, we have a quantity supplied of 30. Therefore, we know that our equilibrium price is $3, and our equilibrium quantity is 30. So it's really that simple. It's just wherever they intersect, you find out what is our price and what is our quantity, and that's our equilibrium. But what if the price increases to $4? At $4, there is disequilibrium. The quantity demanded is less than quantity supplied. So here we are, we raise our price up to 4, and we can see at $4 we have a quantity demanded of 20. But at $4, what is the amount we're willing to supply? 40. So when we look and we compare both of those, we can see that we have a surplus. So we have more supply than demand. How much is our surplus at $4? You subtract one from the other, and that gives us 20. So if we were using this as using milk as an example, like we did when we took our notes, we would say at this particular price that the milk suppliers are supplying 40 units, but at that we're only demanding 20, so they have too much milk left over. Now, how much is the surplus if the price is $5? Well, let's raise our price up here, and we can see at $5 we have a quantity demanded of 10, and on the supply side, at $5 we have a quantity supplied of 50. So once again, you subtract, and the answer is 40. So how would we fix that? Well, think about going to the grocery store. Maybe sometimes you might see buy one, get one free milk, or buy one, get one free package of cookies or chips or whatever it might be. And that's probably because they have too many and they need to get rid of them. The price was too high for just one, so they lower the price by perhaps buying one and getting one free and things like and sales like that. So that's the solution, is you would want to lower the price if you're the supplier to get rid of that surplus. Now, what if the price decreases to $2? At $2, there is disequilibrium. The quantity demanded is greater than quantity supplied. So here we are, we dropped our price down to $2. At $2, we're willing to supply 20. But at $2, how many are we demanding? We're demanding 50. So therefore, we have a shortage. We have, again, greater quantity demanded than quantity supplied. How much is a shortage at $2? Once again, just subtract to do the math, and we have 30. So again, using the example of milk, we're demanding 50 units of milk at $2, but the suppliers are going, hey, we're not going to supply that much milk at $2. We're only going to supply 20. Therefore, there's not enough. How much is a shortage if the price is $1? If you said 70, you're correct. So, kind of thinking back to the surplus, how they fix that is they lower the price. Well, how do you think they would fix a shortage? They would raise the price. So, just think of it that way. That's an easy way to understand that, how to raise that back up and how you solve that problem. So, again, if we're on a surplus side, they would lower the price. They want to get rid of those extra units. And on the shortage side, they want to raise the price because they have too much demand. And so they're not making as much money. So they want to raise the price so they can make more money. And how you could test that out is, if we look at this and we say at $1 we demand 80. Well, let's say the suppliers fulfill that. That means the supplier is getting paid $80. But if they raise the price to $3, now they're getting paid $90. So they're actually making more money and they're supplying less. The free market system automatically pushes the price towards equilibrium. So it'll always kind of happen that we'll return to that equilibrium state regardless. Businesses are smart enough to figure that out. So again, when there's a surplus, producers lower the prices, and when there's a shortage, producers raise prices. So to review, you already know how to explain the law of demand. You know how to explain the law of supply. You know your shifters of demand. You know your shifters of supply. We've talked about subsidy. You know why price doesn't shift the curve. It's only movement along the curve. We know what equilibrium is now because we know that that's the intersection of supply and demand. We know that a shortage is when we have more demand than we have supply. And on a surplus, we have more supply than we have demand. Identify 10 stores in the mall. You can pause that now and you can have fun with that. Okay. In the market shown in the graph above, at a price of $5, there will be what? If you said a surplus and the price will eventually fall, you're right. Why? Well, again, if you draw that line out there, that little dotted line up at $5, we would see that our supply is greater than our demand, and we know that price will eventually return to equilibrium because the producers will lower their price. Now, we looked at shortage, we looked at surplus. What happens when the government gets involved? Sometimes they want to create a shortage or a surplus, but they kind of define this as a price ceiling or a price floor. So a price ceiling is drawn the same as a shortage. So if we look at this example as rent-controlled apartments, well, let's say you can only charge a certain amount of money, for, a certain amount of rent per apartment. And this keeps the price down, and perhaps this allows lower income families to afford those apartments. Well, let's say that's in Frisco. A lot of people want to live in Frisco. Well, those apartments would be in demand. There would be a shortage because you would have a lot of low income families that want to live in those. And so therefore the government has created that price ceiling, and they don't necessarily mean to create a shortage, but it just happens that way. So on the flip side of that, we look at a price floor, minimum wage. That's drawn the same as a surplus. Why? Because when the government institutes a minimum wage, everybody's going to make the same wage or more. So therefore, we have a surplus of workers because everybody gets paid the same or more. So those are the variations of price ceiling and price floor. You can also find more information about these on the Flipgrid with student-created videos. If you have any questions, of course, about any of this, please see me or Ms. Rosenfeld. Have a great day.